Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our second webinar. So today, again, we're going to be traveling along the Great West Way. We've got a bunch of really interesting people that we're looking forward that you meet. Co-host here is Johnny and Flo.
Morning.
Good morning. So Flo is in England. Johnny is here in New Jersey with me. And we're going to be traveling along this ancient route that's based on the great road that was commissioned by Charles I back in, I don't know, I guess it was about 500 years ago. And he had ordered 6 great roads to be built to shorten the time that it took for his messages to get from London to the ports. And so we're gonna follow that route, and it goes through lots of beautiful landscapes in England, beautiful towns, and we'll skirt along the Cotswolds, and you'll see beautiful towns. Last year, I was going to say not last year, last week. It feels like last year sometimes, but last week we focused on palaces and stately homes, and today we're going to visit its waterways, and it's the River Thames, where the Henley Regatta takes place. Think of straw hats and picnics and riverbanks and strawberries and swans. It's lovely. It's very beautiful. And then we're going to visit the Kennet and Avon Canal, where back in the day it was how goods were delivered to the towns of Bath and Bristol. And it's been completely restored and repaired, and it's been brought back to life, and it was reopened by the Queen. And later we're going to meet with this great guide, Graham Horn, and he'll show us around the canals. Flo, if you have anything that you want to add in terms of its location to London, so people know how.
Yeah, it's very easily accessible from London. The whole route is actually about 125 miles in length, but we do say it's about 500 miles of navigable routes, because you can go north and south as well as east and west. So there's lots to discover and explore.
And easy to travel to.
Yeah, very much so. And I will touch on the Discoverer Pass, which we work very closely with GWR, who's the Great Western Railway, and they've created an integrated rail and bus pass. So not only can you access it with your vehicle in your car to get from A to B, but the rail network is and the bus network is pretty good in the area as well. So there's a very good value ticket that you can get to take you an unlimited travel across the route.
Johnny, you want to start on?
Yes, sure. We are ready to start with our presentation, and here you go with the PowerPoint.
Yep. So obviously the subject is the Great West Way, and Johnny, you can move to the next slide. So Flo, if you want to talk about this part.
Yeah, it's always worth looking at the map. As I mentioned, the Great West Way runs from London to Bristol. You can see it there. You can see the waterways actually along here. If you look on the right hand side, where you've got the great connectivity with Heathrow Airport on the right there, Bristol Airport on the left. But actually, if you look at the network of rivers and the canal that you've got going through, you can see from central London through to Reading, you've got where the canal actually meets the Thames at the point in which Reading is. So you've got the different waterways going off there, and then as you follow the Kennet and Avon Canal to the left towards Bristol, you've got it then flowing into the River Avon. There's a sort of lots of connecting waterways, which makes it a really exciting sort of area and a place to travel, not just through the road network, but on the waterways. And of course, alongside the waterways, you've got the towpaths. So there's a lot of walking and cycling that can be done along this route as well, and that's why we refer to it as a multimodal touring route. You can probably see some of the other destinations on there, some of the beautiful towns, Caen, Marlborough, Hungerford, Newbury, but Laycock, Chippenham, they're the Malmesbury, beautiful market towns. So there's a lot of market towns, and then of course the city, the World Heritage City of Bath, and the city of Bristol at the other end as well. So yeah, lots of different destinations to explore, as well as the attractions and things we're going to see. So if we want to move on to the next slide, I think I just will briefly mention. Oh, well, let's have a look at the video. Then you've got a different video this week. So for those that you saw last week, we've got a different one. We'll have a look at this.
Travel my way, and I will show you great things.
Johnny, no sound.
Road, on foot, or
What?
road.
No sound, Johnny.
Oh, hold on a second.
There we go. Technology does not stand in our way.
On highways and byways. I am a land the whole world knows, and places made just for you. I am ancient tales told, and new stories to share. I will
People entering, and it creates
Yes.
on highways and byways. I am a land the whole world knows, and places made just for you. I am ancient tales told, and new stories to share. I will take your breath away and show you England's past and present. I am for the curious and the explorers. I am England's Great West Way.
Thanks. Flo, that's such a lovely, lovely video. There's so many beautiful things to see along, along the Great West Way. And the thing that for me that is great, it's a real route of travel, right? So it's not just, oh, I want to stay in a hotel or I want to see Stonehenge. It's really the whole.
It's a journey. We're trying to take people on a journey and explain to them that there is so much in a concentrated, smallish area of England. There is so much for the curious visitor to explore and experience. And we encourage this way of traveling, as if you can go from A to B on the waterways, why not? If you want to cycle along the towpath, then you've got a great opportunity to travel quite a considerable distance to do that and to see lots. So that this slide just shows, there's lots of different ways of traveling, and there are different tour guides and transport options, luggage storage. So we can basically put you in touch with people that can help with those things, and help you pull this together. And I mentioned the Discoverer Pass, which, as I said, is an integrated rail and bus pass, which we're really proud of, because it's an exciting new ticket that we're able to offer the trade.
And it's also just it's how we always look at travel, that it's really just not about one specific thing. It's really about the entire experience of it, whether it's history, food. It's about a journey.
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
about.
absolutely. And you can see just from this slide, there is an extraordinary amount of history and heritage, like no other anywhere else in a concentrated way in England. 3 World Heritage Sites, 31 National Trust properties. I mean, this is vast in terms of the amount there is to see and do. So we want people to stop and explore and stay in the area in a longer way rather than whiz through. We want people to explore it. But yeah, 3 areas of outstanding natural beauty, 28 English heritage properties, and a very excellent range of accommodation, food and drink experiences, attractions, etc. And all year round. So everything from the very sort of hot summers through to the winter offer as well. There's a route for all seasons. And we should we hear from Graham? He's our resident expert. Graham Horn, who runs Tours to Order, is one of our very good reputation of a tour guide and takes lots of people through the waterways and in the area.
Well, hello, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is. I think there's a video going to play of me in a moment. When I took those pictures, it was a little bit colder than it is now. It's about a month ago, hence the jacket. But yes, I'm very pleased to be a Great West Way ambassador. I don't know if you can see my water bottle there popping up on the top of my screen. I don't only do waterways, but I have been involved with the Kennington and Avon Canal and the River Thames for over 40 years. And but I also do all sorts of other tours. So I can do anything from a couple of hours around a town. I can do multi-day tours all the way along the Great West Way. But today, I think we're concentrating on the waterways element, and I'm expecting that this video will start in any second. If it doesn't, I'm going to keep talking to you.
Go ahead.
I'm Graham Horn, and I'm a tour guide along the Great West Way. One of the things I love to do is show people our wonderful rivers and canals. And on the Great West Way, we have 2 of the best. We have the River Thames here, and we have the Kennington and Avon Canal. So let's go and do some exploring. We're here at St Helen's Church. And the wharves in this area were very, very busy during medieval times. The merchants earned a lot of money, much of which they put towards the church, to the extent that it is now almost as wide as it is long through the number of extensions that have taken place. If we go round to the left, we will see some lovely almshouses used for the poor of the town. And those are still in use today with a charity managing them. And then over to the left, you'll see one of the many pubs along the river, the Old Anchor Inn. There are many lovely bridges on the River Thames, such as this one at Clifton Hampden. It's single file for traffic, but can you see that at each pillar there is a slight widening, which is a pedestrian refuge? Goring Lock is one of 45 locks on the river managed by the Environment Agency. This one is typical of this section of the River Thames. All the locks have a resident lockkeeper, who usually takes great pride in the appearance of his or her lock. Many locks have a lock cottage, such as the one you can see ahead of you. The lockkeeper is also responsible for controlling the nearby weir, regulating the amount of water passing downstream, which, when there's been a lot of rain, as we've had this spring, can be a full-time day and night responsibility. A Thames lockkeeper is also responsible for controlling the nearby weir, regulating the amount of water passing downstream, which, when there's been a lot of rain, as we have had this spring, can be a full-time day and night responsibility. This is one of the most iconic of the weirs on the river, Hambledon, and is also now used as a whitewater canoe site. This is Hambledon Mill, one of the most iconic buildings on the River Thames. It's a form of flour mill powered by the water that you can hear rushing past us. These days, it's been converted into luxury apartments, with wonderful views across the river towards the nearby Chiltern Hills. In former times, the river provided power for water mills such as this one. This building has now been converted and is now a restaurant and theatre. Henley-on-Thames has become synonymous with rowing and sculling. Here they're getting ready for the annual Henley Royal Regatta, one of the events of the British sporting season. The regatta is still several weeks away, but it takes 2 months to transform this stretch of river into the regatta course, with facilities for all the crews, plus of course marquees for the many spectators. Rowing events started here in the 1830s. In 1861, the then Prince of Wales attended and gave permission for the term Royal Regatta to be used. I'm sure he didn't bring a plastic duck though. The building ahead of us is Leander Club, the most prestigious rowing club in the whole country, with members such as Steve Redgrave and Matthew Pinsent.
Two of our famous
right
rowers.
is Henley Bridge, this one constructed in the 1780s. And Old Father Thames looks serenely downstream from above the archway in the middle.
That's
Hello.
just one or two. That's just one or two ideas of places on the River Thames. There's hundreds and hundreds of places that I could take you to. I actually live near Reading, which is at the junction of the River Thames and the Kennet and Avon Canal. And I think the next video should be about the Kennet and Avon Canal, which goes from Reading all the way through to Bristol.
The Kennet and Avon Canal almost defines the Great West Way, running nearly 100 miles from Bristol through lovely towns such as Bath, Bradford-on-Avon, Devizes, Hungerford and Newbury, to join the River Thames at Reading. In many places through Wiltshire and Berkshire, it's incredibly peaceful. And after the restoration of the canal during the latter part of the 20th century, it is a wonderful corridor for walking, cycling, pleasure boating, or just being there. Along the Great West Way, you're never too far from one of the great canals, the Kennet and Avon Canal. It was built over 200 years ago to transport goods and cargoes, the transport highway of its day. After the coming of the railways, years of decline set in, but it was restored during the latter part of the 20th century, and today is a wonderful corridor for walking, cycling, pleasure boating, or just being there. The canal almost defines the Great West Way, running nearly 100 miles from Bristol through Bath, Devizes, Hungerford and Newbury to join the River Thames at Reading.
Got a bit of a repeat there, sorry.
It's nice sometimes just to sit on a bench by a canal lock and watch the world go by. Particularly a bench such as this one, which, as you might be able to see, has been sponsored by Prunella Scales and Timothy West, vice presidents and great friends of the Kennet and Avon Canal Trust. We're here at the Flight of 29 Locks at Devizes. The canal engineer, John Rennie, needed a solution to raising or lowering the canal by 240 feet, and this was the result. This was during the time of the Napoleonic Wars during the early 1800s. French prisoners of war from Caen in Normandy were imprisoned here and put to work to help build the locks, hence the alternative name of Caen Hill or Cane Hill. The English could never pronounce the name of that town properly.
Lovely.
So this is just some of the locks as we go up the hillside here.
Together, extra water supply is provided in these sections of water called side ponds. But today they also have another function. They are excellent wildlife havens. It was here in 1990 that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II reopened the canal after 40 years of restoration. Having been involved in the restoration myself, I was honoured to meet the Queen that day. Have you enjoyed our brief visit along the fabulous waterways of the Great West Way? I hope so, and that you'll be able to explore these in more detail with me very soon. Cheers! Kennet and Avon Canal almost.
So that's just, again, so one or two of the highlights. Yes, as you see, I've been very much involved with the waterways for a long time, and so I'm really, really pleased to be an ambassador for the Great West Way. It's not the only tours I do. I do Midsummer Murders tours, if that's something that's completely different, but there you go. Town tours, anything to do with the Great West Way, give me a call and I'll be happy to see what we can put on for you.
That's great, Graham. We're happy to have you play a part in this. And whenever there's any requests, we're for sure we'll reach out.
Thank you.
So where are we next? What's our next?
Johnny, next slide. Oh, the French Brothers. So the French Brothers is they're not able to make it to today's webinar, but they are a River Thames cruise trip. And I believe we've got a video from Don Yates, who we work closely with, who will actually, let's watch their video first, and then there's an interview with Don.
Hi, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. We want to introduce you to the French Brothers and Don Yates. So, Don, welcome to our webinar.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're perfectly welcome. It's now springtime and weather's looking beautiful, and I'm sure there's been so much focus on the UK this past year. It's been great. We see a lot of people. The interest is just terrific. So thanks for taking the time. So French Brothers is a company that has lots of boats that sail up and down the Thames. That starts basically at Windsor and works their way a bit east and west. So Don, if you want to tell us a little bit about the company, that would be great.
Sure. So French Brothers have been operating since 1978. I've been with the company now since 1986, so I've been there a fair time. We've got a lot of boats, as you say, 16 in total, ranging from day trip boats for the casual visitor to Windsor, something that you can just see and go, well, we've got half an hour, we've got 40 minutes, we can jump on that and we get a good view of the castle. And we've got other bigger boats that do parties and things like that. We covered the river from Maidenhead and following the Great West Way all along, really, all the way as far as Hampton Court, with Windsor sort of somewhere in the middle there.
What are the most popular trips that you offer?
So the tourist trips from Windsor for the day visitor, whether they're coming in by their own means or coming in on the coach, we've got a lovely 40-minute trip which gives people an opportunity to get out on the water, get some fresh air, but most importantly see the sights that Windsor's famous for, the amazing view of Windsor Castle, also places that they would have heard of, like Eton College, for example, are very close by, and we get some good views of that too. Mm-hmm. And not to mention the other really quite outstanding homes along the River Thames. River Thames really does attract, you know, well-heeled individuals, celebrities, and people you will have heard of. So that's the 40-minute trip, but also there's a 2-hour trip if you've got a bit more time to spend, where you can go up through a lock, enjoy a glass of Pimm's or something like that.
Always enjoy a glass of Pimm's.
Yeah, exactly. And marvel at the wonderful houses along the river. Those are the most.
How big are these boats? What's the smallest and what's the largest?
The smallest boat would be something like the Windsor Royal, which would happily accommodate about 50 people, and our biggest boat's the New Queen of the Thames, which will accommodate 150 people.
And earlier you were talking about the steamship, and they're still operated by coal, which I thought was so cool.
Absolutely, we're absolutely blessed to have 2 of the last remaining steamboats in the UK. Steam Launch Streatley and Steam Launch Newnham. They were built for Salters of Oxford, and we restored those back to their original grandeur with lots of shiny wood and polished brass teak decks. And they're 1898 and 1905, so they're grand old ladies.
And you can enjoy a tea on board.
Afternoon tea on board one of those boats is absolutely essential, I suppose. These are very, very smart boats. They particularly suit people who are looking for one of those unique money can't buy experiences. So if you're looking for an occasion, or you're looking for a very, very unique and special bespoke experience as a visitor to Windsor, then that would be something well worth considering.
Yeah, and they can be privatized as well, which is interesting. So that's really good. So I just thanks for the introduction. If anyone has any questions about it, I guess they can reach out to us, and we'll contact you.
Sure thing.
You've had I just wanted to ask, Don, I hear you've had some famous people on board as well. Tell us who they've been in the past.
Well, we were very, very lucky to receive a call from Buckingham Palace to host an event for our late Queen one year when the horse show wasn't able to run. Sorry, my dog just decided to come and have a visit, but I guess you're all used to that by now. So Her Majesty the Queen enjoyed a peaceful afternoon on board the boat. And the concierge of the Grosvenor Hotel also contacted me, because Elizabeth Taylor, the very famous actress, wanted to go on a boat trip with us. So we've had lots and lots of people, and we've got some more people to come, but obviously I can't talk about that.
I don't know the answer to this, but was she there with Richard Burton, or was it somebody else? I don't want to know.
She was already later on in her life, yeah. So no, there was half a dozen of them. She went for lunch at the waterside, had a cracking time.
Good.
Excellent.
Good. So, all right, again, thanks for making the time, and we look forward to putting people on your boats. It's very different from what people have normally experienced, and I'm sure it's a lot of fun. And I was just going to ask also, you have a full bar, you have food available on these?
Sure. So, I mean, every boat does have a bar, so you can enjoy a cup of tea or coffee, soft drinks, or something a little stronger if you want. We've already mentioned Pimm's. Pimm's is a quintessentially English drink, and it's a lovely way to sit back and enjoy the fresh air, enjoy the sunshine, glass of Pimm's in hand, and watching people. Perhaps not quite so privileged to be on board a boat as you go up and down the river.
All right.
Lovely.
So thanks. Yeah, really lovely. So thanks again. And
Thanks,
we
Don.
look forward to seeing you. Thanks, Don. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. You have a great time too.
Well, hopefully that was exciting for you all to see. Don's a great character, been there a long time, knows his stuff, and that the video that you saw on there was the steamboat. So you know, that's really worth asking for if that's of interest to your clients. Tom, shall I just go on just to say about SS Great Britain?
Yeah, go ahead.
So SS Great Britain is at the other end of the route. This is within the Bristol Channel end of the route, and we're going to hear from Lucy on Brunel's SS Great Britain. So let's play the video, and then we've got an interview with her.
Hello, we're delighted to be supporting GT Experiences today, and welcome to Bristol's floating harbour here, where visitors come every year to explore the harbour and Bristol's heritage along with the Avon River on boat tours and also by crossing the famous Clifton Suspension Bridge. We're here also to welcome you at Brunel's SS Great Britain. We are standing right next to the SS Great Britain here, which was built in this very spot in 1843. She was the first ship ever to be built of iron with a screw propeller. And we're very lucky to have her back here. She took her maiden voyage in 1845 to New York City, where she was welcomed by a big crowd of visitors, and even became a tourist attraction for about 21,000 New Yorkers who paid to go on board and have a look at what at the time was the largest and most efficient ship in the world. She had an illustrious career as an ocean liner, going first to New York and then to Melbourne in Australia, before becoming a troop carrier and then a cargo vessel before she was unfortunately scuttled in the Falkland Islands. But that wasn't the end of her journey. She was then rescued and salvaged from the Falkland Islands and became the largest ship to be refloated on a pontoon and undertook the longest journey by tow, all the way from the Falkland Islands back here to Bristol to where she was born. So we're very, very lucky to have her here. Today visitors can experience her in all her glory recreated. They can explore the stories of migration and life on board the ship, both on board the ship itself and in our dockyard museum. They can also head underneath the ship, underneath our glass sea, to get up close to the hull of the ship itself and see how we are conserving her today. They can also then head to Brunel, which we will go and see a bit later on, and explore all of Brunel's project and get to know the man himself a bit better. I believe now we're just going to show you a quick video about what can be experienced here, and when you rejoin me we will be in Brunel. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. We're here now in Brunel with the man himself. In here visitors can experience lots of interactives and lots of different objects from all of his different projects. He wasn't just involved with building ships, he was also involved with building tunnels, railways and also bridges as well. Visitors can, for instance, compare their drawing skills with Mr. Brunel by stepping onto a moving train carriage and trying to draw a perfect circle. They can also sit at his desk in his office or even choose his dinner guests in his family dining room. I also need to mention that in the museum as well, we do have lots of fascinating objects to do with Brunel's father, Sir Mark Brunel, who was actually chief engineer of New York City at one point in his life. We have many drawings of his for designs of buildings in New York, and also a design for his design for the Capitol building in Washington DC. Unfortunately, that design didn't get chosen. But that's just a little taste of what we have to offer in the Brunel Museum. But before we head back to the GT hosts today, I just want to let you know of a few things that we can offer your clients, some of the tailor-made experiences that they can experience here. For instance, we can offer guided tours of the ship itself with our expert tour guides, or even got tours with our Mr. Brunel, either of the dockyard or even of Bristol's floating harbour itself. We can also offer exclusive time with our curators with some of the objects from our archive vault that don't usually get put out on display. For instance, the UNESCO recognised screw propeller report of Brunel's. We can also offer many different private dining options, which include sitting with a harborside view, or on the ship itself, or even cocktails and drinks on the weather deck itself. So that's just a few examples of what we can offer here, and obviously if you want any more information, we'd be happy to offer it. If you want to book any of your clients in, we'd be happy to help, and I'm sure the GT Experience hosts will be able to help you with that as well. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I hope you enjoyed watching this great video on the SS Brunei. It's got a lot of history. Undoubtedly, I'm sure that lots of you are a good segment of your business is cruising, transatlantic, Caribbean, everywhere. And I don't know if many of you are even, if you think back to those early days of when did cruising start? When was the first transatlantic cruise? How did that develop? And I'm not talking about, the Nina and the Pinta, where, America, gets discovered. No, it's not about that. I'm talking about real commercial cruising. And I want to introduce you to Lucy Greer. She's the operations officer that heads up sales for the ship, and obviously Flo. You guys know Flo since we've been on together now for the last half an hour or so. But I want Lucy. Thanks for being part of this, and we're looking forward to hearing about the history of this ship and where it sailed. And we have a bunch of other questions, but thanks for taking the time.
No, it's quite all right. I'm delighted to support you guys in this, and it's brilliant to be here.
So one of the questions that I have is, can you tell us a bit about the history of this incredible ship?
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned in the video, I think you guys just watched, the ship was built by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. So he was a famous engineer in Britain in the sort of 1800s. So this ship was built in the early half of the 1800s, and she was originally built to go to New York as a luxury liner. So she only had sort of first and second classes back in that day. So she was really sort of for top end cruise across the Atlantic to New York. And yeah, it was quite a fight when she first arrived there. But then she did quite a stint from between Liverpool and Australia, took a lot of passengers backwards and forwards, and sort of expanded how many passengers she could take. She was taking up to sort of 700-800 people at that point, whereas to New York she was only taking 200 to 300 passengers. So big change in her working life there. And then after she finished doing this sort of Australia run, she was used as a cargo ship, and she was also used as a troop carrier for the Crimean War at one point in her life as well. And so yeah, it was a very quick whistle stop through her sort of working life. And as I mentioned, she was sort of scuttled and left in the Falkland Islands. I believe it was the early 1900s, and then she got brought back here to Bristol in 1970, which was quite miraculous at the time. We were very lucky.
What a difference when you think about today. There are, these large cruise ships that hold 3,000 to 5,000 people, and here she was sailing across the Atlantic with under 300, and there were two classes.
Yeah, so when she was first traveling to New York originally, it was two classes. So it would have been a first class and a second class. So it really would have been at that top end of travel that would have been using her at that stage.
And do you have any recollection of what the cost was of a passage?
So I've been told that it was fairly similar to passages nowadays. So if you think about the difference between sort of first class and more standard classes now, that kind of price difference would have been similar. But back then we're talking in sort of guineas. So back then first class to New York would have been around 20 guineas. I don't know exactly how much that translates in today's money, but yeah.
And what were the differences in terms of the classes?
Yeah,
How did-
so to New York, I don't think there would have been a massive difference between first class and second class. It might have been something to do with the food arrangements, and maybe first class would have obviously gotten a bit more privacy in terms of their cabins. But certainly for her Australia run, there would have been a massive difference. They had a lot more classes, a lot more working class people going across to Australia to try and make a new life for themselves. So first class again would have had their own private cabins and would have had luxurious dining room with all their food cooked for them, whereas steerage would have been a bit more packed in together. You got to know your neighbours very, very well for the almost 2 months that you were on board the ship to Australia, and would have had rations that they would have had to pick up and then sort of deal with themselves.
And how long did it take to do a transatlantic crossing between, where it would sail from Southampton, or where would it sail from? Liverpool?
So originally she sailed from Bristol for the first voyage, but she then changed to Liverpool, from my understanding, to New York. Yeah.
How long was
Um,
that? How long would that take?
Oh, I think that was about 2 to 3 weeks off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. All right. Uh, so and she was both sails and engines, correct?
Yes, absolutely. She was a bit of a hybrid at her time. She had the sails for when the wind was strong enough to carry her forward, but she was able to take those down and use her engine and her propeller when the winds weren't so good, just to keep her moving. And that is why she was the fastest ship in the world at that time.
Mm-hmm. And I assume that to build a ship like that at that time, now it was not built out of wood, right?
No.
This is a ship that was built out of iron, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yes,
And the cost was significant.
yes,
And
absolutely.
who financed it? How was it financed?
So I believe it was the Great Western Railway Company that was financing her and raising all the funds and directing the project along with Brunel.
And
Yeah.
the connection, was there a connection with America in terms of financing at that time or not?
Not to my knowledge. I could be wrong, but not to my knowledge at this moment.
Mm-hmm. So specifically to the ship now, in terms of its location, Bristol to Bath, distance is about
Ooh.
45 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping you weren't going to ask me in miles then.
No,
But yeah,
no.
absolutely. About 45 minutes to an hour to get to
Right.
Bath from here. Yeah.
So it's an easy trip if people aren't going to stay in Bristol, but they happen to be in Bath and they're trying to
Oh,
figure out what else to do.
absolutely. It's a lovely little day trip from between Bristol and Bath. Yes.
Mhm. And are you open all year round?
We are open all year round. Yes. We have a couple of weeks closure around the Christmas period, but other than that, we are open all year.
Great. And how much time do you need to visit?
We generally suggest about 3 to 4 hours because there is lots and lots to see. So we obviously have the ship. We have 2 museums, one about the ship itself and one about Brunel, which you saw a sneak peek of earlier. We also have the dry dock, which takes a few people under the ship, which is a lovely area that we get to show, which isn't usually seen.
Mm-hmm. And do we need to organize a visit with a tour guide, or do you have an audio guide, or is it very self-explanatory?
It is very self-explanatory, so it's all geared up for the self-led. People can just go around at their leisure and whichever direction they want and enjoy it. But guided tours is something we can book for people in advance if they are really wanting that. So those would be of the ship, and obviously our knowledgeable tour guides can bring to life some of the passenger stories that may have been missed in the museum as people go through, but they can really bring that to life as well.
And I know we spoke earlier about being able to offer some unique experiences. So those are things that obviously we can we can send you requests, and if somebody wants to privatize or they want to do something off hours, we could talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, and you know, I don't have any other questions, but you know, Flo, if you have anything that you know you think we might have missed, or you know,
Sorry, there is some history that I heard, some connection with Brunel and his father connected to America. What, just remind me what that is, Lucy.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brunel's father, Sir Mark Brunel, actually lived in New York City for a little while during his life before he came over to England and married Brunel's mother. And he was actually chief engineer of New York City for a period and designed lots of buildings within New York. Also, I think I mentioned designed created a design for the Capitol building in Washington, which unfortunately didn't end up getting taken up. Someone else got the prize for that one. But yeah, so he did live and work in New York for quite a while. So some of the landscape there at the time would have been influenced by him.
Excellent. I like that story.
Yeah.
Good.
So thanks, Lucy. We're going to move on to the next segment. We'll reach out to you if there are any questions that people have, and
yeah, absolutely.
You know, we'll circle around and you can answer the questions at that point. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for making the time.
That's not a problem. Thank you so much.
And next time, we look forward to seeing you on board the ship.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
I know.
Hello.
So we keep learning about the waterways. So where are we heading to now, Flo?
Okay, so I'm hoping we've got we have got hopefully Steve and Charlotte from the Kennet Horseboat Company, who are really great product. This is very close to my heart because I just love the way they're working traditionally and how, you know, they're running a tourism business, and this is how these barges used to be pulled by horses. So they are able to offer visitors a trip on the canal. And we're going to hear from them in a minute. They're going to be live down by the canal side shortly. But should we just play their video just to begin, and you can sort of get a feel for what they do?
So peaceful, so beautiful. So if we just, Johnny, if we can just stop the presentation, sharing your screen for a minute, hopefully we can pass over to Steve and Charlotte, who are on the canal side at the moment with their horse, I hope, who can tell us a little bit more about it. Well, hopefully the horse doesn't have to tell us more about it.
Hello, can you see us and hear us? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kintbury on the Kennet and Avon Canal in Berkshire on a beautiful sunny afternoon in England. We're very proud to be Great West Way ambassadors, and today we'd like to introduce you to our family-run business and tell you a little bit more about our horse-drawn barge. My name is Charlotte and this is Steve. And
hello.
Together we operate the Kennet Horseboat Company. We are one of only 3 remaining horse-drawn barges in the UK and the only one that works on the Open Canal network.
So the boat that we have is solely drawn by horse. There's no engine on board, and it offers you this unique opportunity or window into the 18th century canal transport. Today we've done a 3-hour cruise. We had 52 passengers on board. We went down through 2 locks. A
little bit of technical.
Going through some lovely countryside and down through do a return journey. They've also had a cream tea with jam and clotted cream, and it just allows you to sit back and relax the slower pace of canal life.
So we're going to just walk you over to the horse and introduce you to the star of the show today, if that's okay.
Looks like a beautiful day.
It's a lovely day today, yeah.
So he's a working horse.
Horse is a Welsh, and he's been with me now. Sorry, I'm in the tree there. He's been with me now for about 15 years. He's 17 years old. He's one of 2 horses that I have. He's a Welsh Cobshire cross. He stands at around 16 hands. So the other horse is Drummer, and they usually do 1 day on, 1 day off, and then that's worked very well for us for over 50 years. The beauty of having a horse-drawn barge is that it offers you the tranquility. There's no engine, so you get the chance to sort of like just sit back and hear the hooves clopping on the towpath and the reeds rustling. So we offer something that's completely different, I think, from anybody else that on the canal network, really.
Well,
as you're going along, you'll be able to see some of the evidence of the horse-drawn barges that have been going along our canal. For instance, rope marks in the brickwork of the bridges, where the rope has worn away the brickwork, and it also really, and in this sort of day and age, sort of takes you back to a time that was much more. It was a slower pace of life, and that gives you that chance of a bit of relaxation and mindfulness. I think it just really sort of sets you back to a different age. You just get a real feel for that.
And Steve, I remember when we were having a conversation the other day,
yeah,
you mentioned that you can privatize it as well.
That's right. So we've got various options that you can take. We have a 2, 2.5, 3, and 4 hour trip available. You can private hire the boat, you can private charter it, or you can join a group. Depending on what you want to do, we can tailor your trip pretty much to what you require. And obviously, if you speak to yourself or John, it's Johnny. Yeah. You'll be able to help them with that, and we can offer any sort of answers that you need to any questions.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Flo,
we've got one question on the chat saying, are they one-way canals? I'm under the impression you can go both ways, as in there are canal boats passing each other. Is that the case, Steve?
Yeah, that's something that is so the canal actually runs from on that open network. You often see other traffic going each way. However, it won't be horse-drawn. We're the only horse-drawn barge.
Yeah.
So but you will be able to see other boats passing us on the way. It's all part of the experience.
Yeah, but you're challenged because. Are you challenged because the other boats, is there enough room to pass and everything? Do you get, is that difficult with the horse and the rope?
Not really, not really. We sometimes, you know, we sometimes have to pass over the boats when they're moored. But we're highly skilled at we're highly skilled at that one. As boats are passing, the canal is it does have the size for two boats. Both boats could pass and could be 14 feet wide. So we're about 10.5 feet wide by 6 to 7 feet. So we can quite easily
And Steve, what's your season?
Our season runs from Easter time to the end of September.
Great.
We're
So,
also-
so
sorry.
Charlotte, were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that we're also very well positioned from London. From London, Paddington, you can literally step off the train at Kimpbury. We're roughly an hour from London by train, and within moments you can be relaxing on board. We're also very easy to access from the M4, making us a desirable attraction to visit as you journey along the Great West Way.
Thanks.
We'd like to move into the boat now, if you're okay with that. We've now introduced you to Monty. We just go along here a little bit. As you can see, this is the tiller and the rudder. Slightly different to what you might see on other boats. It's slightly bigger. This is where people can get onto this is where we board our passengers. I'll just give you a little bit of a. So it's all, everything is covered. As you can see, we've got a nice covering, but the windows do go up. However, especially on a day like this, it's nice and airy, and the passengers can sit along the sides. We can have tables in the middle here, depending on you know what you want, and obviously we've got some things for you. We do have a menu as well. We've got a various menus that we can send out to you if you need to see what kind of food that we do. And whilst you're on the trip, we have somebody behind the bar looking after the passengers. We also have two crew on the boat. One will be steering and one will be helping with the ropes and making sure that we get everything done properly at the locks. So and then of course there's myself with Monty or drummer. You know, I do most of the walking, and that's pretty much you know. So I've got, you know, you can have a little look out, you know, just look at it as we're going along and see what we can see. I mean,
and someone asked,
wildlife and things like that, which is interesting. A lot of kingfishers.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to move on. I just want to say thanks for taking part in this.
Thank you.
Lovely,
Thanks,
great
guys.
experience. And we have a lot of questions, so we'll reach back to you and then we'll answer the questions as over the next couple of days. All righty.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we're going to move to the hotel side. This is the end of our webinar. So want to introduce you to Gabby. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited. So great to see everyone here.
So this we're going to show you 3 properties. Actually, we're going to just it's a video that Gabby had put together with her team.
It's actually, Tom, I must say, I feel like Ursula from the latest Little Mermaid movie, because I've taken the voice from my team, taken away, but I'll try to give you as much information as I can in the short time. And really, so my name is Gabby, and I'm here to show you where you and your clients and your guests can stay whilst, you know, visiting those amazing destinations along the Great West Way. So we can go straight into the video, Johnny, whenever you're ready, and we'll be greeted by Joanna. And we're here in the heart of London. So we're in the heart of London at Roseate House, London, just behind Joanna. And location-wise, we're in a very central, good position, central London. 2 minutes walk, we have Paddington train station, and on the other side we have Hyde Park, and there's so many other destinations, you know, that everyone wants to see when in London. It's a two-house Victorian house hotel with a lot of heritage sites itself. In terms of the bedrooms, when visiting England, of course, that's, I guess, what you want to experience is the true tradition with some antique furniture there, comfortable beds, air conditioning, everything that you can expect from like a boutique luxury hotel. It's a 5-star property. Over here in this executive room, we can see sort of the meadows of London and the Paddington station sort of right there, so that you know that it's true, that's Paddington station, and the connectivity is really, really great. So it's really good to start your tours of the Great West Way, because connectivity to Heathrow is through Heathrow Express, sort of under 30 minutes there, and you're right into Paddington station. And of course, John is taking to one of my favorite rooms in the whole hotel. Out of 37 rooms, we have some of the suites. So this is the Roseate Suite, and of course it has the 4-posted bed, Balustrada bed with the Y-spring mattresses, which from our clients' reviews, from our guest reviews, they even reach out and they say, like, what was it about this bed? Because I had one of the best nights sleep in there. And this suite has also a living area, another flat screen TV, another connectivity room attached to it, your Nespresso coffee machine, tea, water, sparkling water, robe, slippers, royal, anything to make you feel like royalty when staying and visiting England. And no matter what room category, all of the amenities are the same, and it's just the size of the rooms that really varies. So this one has a beautiful balcony as well, which actually you would have seen St. John's Church, which Oscar Wilde got married years and years ago. But we have also like a lovely courtyard, a restaurant, a bar, from a la carte menu to, of course, your quintessential British afternoon tea, which is a must, and delighted to taste when visiting England. And of course, the whiskey collection and cocktails. And Joanna, of course, is enjoying one of those. And then we'll pass on to Charlotte and Reading. Oh, that was a good transition there. Well done, girls. So just like that, we're in Reading in a 5-star, another luxury hotel, which is located in the heart of Reading, and that is 25-minute train journey from London Paddington. So from the previous hotel that we have just seen, it's a historical building and has unique historical features in itself. So right here is a lift shaft that's now has like 86,000 Italian beads, and there's a lot of history because it used to be the Berkshire County Council Shire Hall. So there's a lot of those original features there, and it's a Victorian townhouse. But now, of course, it has all the quirky features of like upstage mini cinema and your destination restaurant and bar, meetings and event space, as well as the private dining. So this, where Charlotte is here now, it used to actually be the chamber for the county, and this is now turned into the private dining rooms there. And finally, we're on to bedrooms. So the way the hotel is positioned, it has 2 buildings, one Victorian, which is a lot of artwork and a lot of those original features are restored. And then we have the house building, which we can see here, and that is very modern and contemporary. So it actually covers both flavors of whatever the guest choice or preference may be. In this particular house room that Charlotte is in now, it has a kitchenette. It's sort of like ideal for families. It has a large living area, a balcony overlooking Reading, and of course it has the spa on the top floor, as you do. It has a gym, 3 treatment rooms, sauna, steam room, so everything that you need after that full day of relaxation. And this is one of the Roseate Suites, the higher category rooms with original features. And here we have the facade of the hotel. So the Reading, for those that don't know, is also located just 30-minute drive from Heathrow Airport, Ascot Racecourse, Windsor. So there's a lot of destinations to see. And just like that, through Great West Way, we are in Bath. So we heard a lot of things mentioned on Bath already, and what we're proud of is our Rosette Villa Bath. So that's 21 bedrooms, 21 keys of unique experience that your clients and your guests and yourselves can enjoy. Location wise, as you can see, Bath has a lot to offer, as Flo has kindly mentioned already, and we are just sort of, I would say, 5-minute walk from the heart of Bath. And the beauty of it is that it has a lot of, it's sort of in that peaceful area. So although all the properties are quite central, they're just off some sort of Hyde Park, Henrietta Park, or Forbury Gardens in Reading. So they're just in a lovely, quiet area, and so you're in the heart of it, but you're not disturbed by the noise of the towns or cities. And there's a lot of beautiful gardens. So this is just around the Villa Bath, and what they're really well known is that they make a beautiful afternoon tea, gorgeous breakfast, and something not to miss when visiting along the Great West Way. So I hope that gives you a quick overview of what we're all about, when people can, stay across and explore the different destinations and have the comfortable sleep. And actually, I would say we are a really good value proposition as a 5-star property. We are affordable luxury, I must say. And more on that, of course, Tom would be able to, and Johnny will be able to give you more information, on rates and facilities in more detail. But I thought I'll just give you a quick overview. And there's one thing, me talking about it and showing you a video there, but if you go on TripAdvisor, we actually just received all 3 properties has been recognized by TripAdvisor's award of 10% hotels in the world. So amongst the 10% of best hotels in the world, all these properties sit under there. And Bath is the #1 hotel on TripAdvisor when visiting in Bath, and Reading is the #1 hotel listed on there by our guest review. So don't take my word for it. It's kind of the guests that value the hospitality element there, and our team are really honored and always welcome to give any tips and hints, and they always like to get involved. They become like themselves, like a little tour guides in itself, and will give you great recommendations on restaurants and places to see amongst a part of your itineraries. And that's it. Rosette Hotels is there if you're looking for the best of British hospitality, I would say.
Gabby, thanks. Beautiful properties, and I hope that we were able to show people some things that are out of the ordinary through this entire hour. Flo, if you have anything else to add?
No, not really. I'm just delighted that we've got so many people that were interested, and we hope you're all going to enjoy seeing the final episode of the Great West Way journey, and all our food and drink offering, which will take place next week. So you'll get a reminder through GT Experiences for that. But just wanted to say thank you for everybody for joining us, and thank you to our lovely ambassadors who have taken the time out to do those videos and to join us as well. So thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. So everybody have a great rest of the day.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks a lot. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and for the first time I can say it's 5 o'clock here in the UK. So open that bottle of Prosecco or gin and tonic now. Bye-bye, everyone.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.